Hi again everybody and welcome back to Isolation Station. This is the Antisocial Distancing Podcast and today is day I've seen every single episode of every single season of Grey's Anatomy. I think that makes me a qualified doctor. And today we're joined by Cielo Rodriguez from G7.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you here. So things that I know about you, you're obsessed with Queen.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with the movie Bohemian Rhapsody.
Of course.
And that's it.
All right. Yeah.
So Cielo, during the time that we've been apart in the quarantine, what's your life been like?
I wake up not so early, but basically all my day is doing homework.
Okay. So very stressful.
Yeah.
And have you done anything new or interesting during the quarantine?
I have listened to new music, like Queen, and I start playing a little more piano.
Oh, lovely. What's your favorite thing to play on piano?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay. So Cielo, because we have our green screen, we can be anywhere in the world. So where would you like to be today?
London.
London. Okay.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about books. So maybe a good place to be would be inside the British library, inside the British Museum. There we go. So, as I said, we're going to talk about books. Before we do that, you said you wanted to be in London. Why would you like to be in London?
Because I think it's a beautiful city in a beautiful country. And I don't know, it's perfect. I really like it. I don't know.
I agree. So the last time I was back in England was just before we were locked in our houses. Yeah, so it was in December and January of last year and this year, and I had 3 days in London, and I had the same feeling about London as I have about Lima. And that feeling is, I'd like to go there, and I'd like to sort of spend like a day there, but no more, right? But I was there for 3 days, and I think I agree with you that London would probably be a really good city to live in.
Yeah.
Especially like museums are free to get into.
There are very good universities.
There are lots of good universities, absolutely. Getting around is quite easy because they have the underground trains. And also, so we went to a place called Clapham, and Clapham is an area of London. And on one street, there was a Peruvian restaurant, an Argentinian restaurant, a Thai restaurant, an Indian restaurant, an Italian restaurant, all on one street. You can get basically any food you want to eat. You can get it somewhere in London.
There was a Peruvian restaurant.
Yeah, there was a Peruvian restaurant, and then we went to another market which had a Peruvian place that was doing salchipapas.
Oh, I don't think salchipapas is from Peru, but okay.
But they were doing it, so they were doing it with Peruvian potatoes and and like Peruvian sauces and things like that. And people were going crazy for these salchipapas.
Yeah.
Okay, so today, as I said, we're going to talk about books. Right? So you're going to mention 2 books that you like, and I'm going to mention 1 or 2 books that I really enjoy, and we're going to say why we like them and why people should read them. And then hopefully 1 or 2 of you will go out and read the books. So Cielo, what's your first book recommendation?
I think it's Wonder. Yeah, Wonder.
Okay.
Um, I really like it because I can see myself in this story. Because a few years ago, people gave me a very hard time. So I really like stories about bullying. I don't know why, but yeah, that's all.
Mhm. Right. So tell me a little bit about what is the book about?
It is about a kid who is called August, and he have like a deformity
Hmm.
in the face, and he needs to go to school for the first time. So the story is about how um, people gave he a hard time
Hmm.
and how he started making new friends. And yeah, I really recommend that book and the movie too.
Oh, so there's a movie as well.
Yeah.
And what do you think? The movie or the book is better?
No, I prefer books always because in the books, like you can imagine a lot of things. Also, the books are more detailed.
Absolutely. I always, when anyone ever asks me that question, I always think about Harry Potter because the first time I read Harry Potter, I read it before the movies came out. So the first book, and I
Mhm.
remember reading this book and imagining all of these weird and wonderful things. Um,
I really like to imagine. I don't know.
mhm. Absolutely. And then the movie came out, and number one, they removed some parts of the book.
Because it was very difficult, and also the
Right.
movie was going to be very long.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. In a book, you can have all of these wonderful descriptions and events and things, but in a movie, you need to only pick out specific things.
Like the most important parts.
Absolutely, yeah. And so whenever anyone else asks me the question, do you prefer the book or the movie? There are one or two movies that I prefer to the book, but in general, the book is always better than the movie.
Yeah.
So going back to talking about Wonder, who would you say is your favourite character in the book?
I think Jack Will because he was like the first friend of August,
Hmm.
and he was like his um, truest friend. Like I don't know, cut please.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same question again.
Yeah, but how can I say it? Like I like him because he's honest and he always treat tratar siempre lo trata
Treats.
treat August very good except from one time.
Okay.
But
Tenemos que hacer
Just
una
how
pregunta.
can I say
okay,
it? Like a little summary.
Puedes escribirlo.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so um, who would you say in the book is your favourite character?
I think it could be Jack Will because he was like the first friend of August and he was very good to him and yeah, that's the reason.
Okay, right, and so would you say that in the book you relate more to Jack or relate more to August?
No, I think more August.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the second book that you would recommend, what would
Is
you say it would be?
the boy in the striped pajamas. That's
Okay.
well. Because a few years ago when I read it, I was very obsessed with things about the World War II,
Hmm.
and I really like it because that and it has drama at the final, and I like drama, so that's the reason again.
Yeah, so I would agree with you. I read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas for the first time last year.
There's
Um,
also a movie.
there's also a movie. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but I've read the book. Um, and I would agree that it's a book where it starts very slowly,
Hmm.
and then it gets quicker and quicker and quicker and more interesting and
Yeah,
more thrilling, and you wonder what's going to happen, and then at the end, it happens, and
Uh-huh.
it really makes you cry.
Yeah, I knew it from the beginning. From the beginning, I don't know why, but I knew it. Like
Hmm.
all the books end in that thing. But I'm
Right.
not going to spoil.
And so you were saying that you were really interested in World War Two. Are there any other books that are related to that that you also read and you also enjoyed?
The Diary of Anna Frank
Hmm.
or the Book Thief.
The Book Thief. Yeah.
Uh-huh. There are very good books, but I think that especially the Book Thief. The
But you
book
would say that the best book to read of those three first would be The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
yeah, and then the Book Thief, and finally the Diary of Anna Frank.
Hmm.
I really like the Book Thief because I like long books.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very long book,
Hmm.
very well, I think. So
Yes.
yeah,
And so in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, um, why? So you said that it made you obsessed with World War Two, but why? Why did you really like it?
because of the drama and because it shows that the friendship does not have like limits.
Hmm. Absolutely
And
excellent. And who, Cielo, would you say that your favourite character in the book is?
I think it is Bruno because he's very innocent. Like he didn't care and he didn't know about the difference between his friend and he.
Hmm.
And he only like thought about his friendship.
You're right. So obviously, for those of you that don't know, Bruno is the son
One of
the
the heads, most important heads of the Nazis.
of the concentration camp, and his friend Schmiel is one of the prisoners in the concentration camp, and so that
Yeah.
they build up a friendship. So those are two books that you really enjoy. And when we decided to talk about books, I was really thinking about books that I really enjoy now and that I really liked when I was at school. And so one of the books that I really like, and a movie has just come out, but apparently it's a terrible movie, so don't watch it. Is a book called is a series of books called Artemis Fowl, and they're about a sort of I think he's 12 or 13-year old boy with lots of money who finds out that fairies exist, and he decides that his goal in life is to catch a fairy and to get lots of money from this fairy. Um,
Huh?
uh, anyway, that's basically the first book. Is him trying to catch this fairy, and then the fairies all trying to attack him for it. But it is very good, and
I
one of
I haven't heard about the books, but they sound like very interesting.
well, yeah, it is very interesting. And one of the things that I really like is a lot of books that are written for young people. Um, the hero is always good and does everything correctly, whereas in this book, the protagonist, the hero of the story, is not very good, not nice, doesn't do great things, is a criminal, but you still
That's
really want to find out what happens to him.
that's great because I don't like the cliche stories.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
I don't know like it.
Okay, and then my second book is a book that I know that you have heard of and that you know. It's this book,
Oh, this book.
that book. Yeah. So this is the book that I decided that I wanted my students in G7 to read
Yeah,
this year.
that was a very good decision.
Yeah. So I was in England in August of last year, and I went into a bookshop, and I said to the person in the bookshop, "I'm teaching classes to English students in Peru, and we need to find some books for them to read." And this woman gave me about a big thing of about 10 books, um,
Wow.
and uh, the the second or the third book of that pile was Boy 87, and I started to read it, and as you were saying, it books that grip you, and it grips you from the first paragraph.
Yeah.
And I thought I think this would be really fantastic for students to read, and sometimes it's difficult because, as we said at the beginning, sometimes when you're studying books at school, it takes away your interest in the books.
You think it's more like an obligation, so you don't enjoy it like very much.
Exactly. But I think that Boy 87 is so gripping and so thrilling that sometimes...
Yeah, drama too, so that's good.
Yeah. And I know that, I mean, I can tell that you really enjoyed the book, because even after 2 weeks you finished it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying that you have to join my classmates to finish it.
Yeah. So in Boy 87, the two main characters are Schiff and his best friend Binny. And I think that you don't really... there's no time where you really stop and think about either of them as people, because things always happen to them, right? There's always something happening in the book, and so the book is about their sort of escape from the country where they're living to another country, to England, really, because everyone wants to.
Never said like what was the country where they live.
No, it doesn't. And so it's they're trying to get to another country, and every single chapter something new happens to these people, and there's no time where you stop and and it takes a breath, and that's one of the things that I really like about it.
The only time when I stop like reading is when I got to sleep, because I remember that I like to read books late, like at 12. I don't know why, but yeah. So that's the only time that when I have to stop.
Right, when you literally couldn't keep your eyes open.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, those are the 4 books that we have decided to recommend. So we have Wonder, we have The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, we have Artemis Fowl, and we have Boy 87. I mean, if you're in G7, you're already reading one of them. But if you're not in G7, we really would recommend you to read one of those books, if you can find it, if you can buy it. Something that when I was younger, similar to you, Cielo, I really loved reading books. I think that to find the time, even sort of half an hour every day, to read a bit of a book, it makes you really think about everything, and you can get lots of people's perspectives just from reading a new book, and I think that's really lovely.
The thing about the books is like it makes you like imagine you like the books when the books gave you a description like of the characters, you need to imagine them, and that's what I like that's what I prefer the books from to the movies.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Cielo, for talking about books with us, and thank you very much to all of you for watching and for listening. If you have any topics you'd like for us to talk about, or any or you'd like to be on Isolation Station, then write a message to the MIC Instagram. Let us know. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to give it a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to MICTube. So from Cielo and from me, bye everybody.
Bye.